You are listening to the Urban Sports Scene, and we are part of Empire Media. Check us out at empiremedia.com. And it's been a minute, fam, but it's time again for HBCU Corner. And today's guest is a decorated hoops coach who boasts a resume that includes 8 state championships at the high school level. And he recently led the Delaware State Hornets to a surprising run to the championship game of the 2024 MEAC tournament. Welcome to HBCU Corner, Delaware State head coach Stan Waterman. Coach, what's up?
What's up, man? Thank you all so much. I appreciate, again, the interest and the opportunity to be on with you.
Thank you, Coach. You're doing something right. If you made it to HBCU Corner, man, it's a dope segment here on the Urban Sports Scene. But I'm totally joking, Coach. We know that we don't want to keep too much of your time, but we want to start out having a little fun. 2 decades ago, can you believe it, Wole? We graduated from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. We got love for all HBCUs. But when we were in school, Delaware State was our rival, Coach. We just want to know, do you still kind of view it that way? And I guess we're traders at this point.
You're right down the road. UMES is right down the road. And I can see that being a natural rivalry for you. And again, I appreciate the fact that you're willing to show us a little bit of love.
Oh, for sure, man.
So Coach, we've never, I don't think I've been to a Dell State homecoming. What is a Dell State homecoming like?
Unbelievable. Ranks right up there at the top of things that are happening on this campus. I joke and boast when I'm recruiting. I tell them homecoming is second to commencement and second only to commencement around here. It's a big deal.
Okay, Racy, right now we may have to kind of stop through there too as well.
You got to check it out. You got to check it out.
And also, Coach,
it hasn't crossed my mind, Coach. Not gonna lie, maybe once, but no doubt for sure, man. Like I said, we got love for HBCUs, even Delaware State.
Hey, Coach. Also, like Ray and I, we're big. I mean, not Ray. I'm a big fan of Delaware, just the state of Delaware, because of tax-free. I love that tax-free stuff. So in turn, how is that lifestyle? Do you enjoy living there as well? Because I'm like, when I go to McDonald's, everything is just used to go to the $1 menu. It was just $1. Everything was just a flat $1.
It is, man. It's a great place to live. I'm a native Delawarean, born and raised.
Awesome.
I went to high school in the city of Wilmington at Howard High School. And then, of course, I played my college basketball at the University of Delaware, Newark, Delaware, and now I'm downstate in Dover at the Capitol at Delaware State University. So been here, born and raised, been here my whole life. Great place to live. Like you said, home of tax-free shopping.
Oh, love it.
Banking capital of the world. There's just plenty to do. I love it.
Hey, Coach, real talk, man. I love Delaware as well. Delmarva is all connected. So we all connected in some way. I done stayed in Harrington, Felton, you name it, Rehoboth. I done been there. Wish I could live in Delaware from that perspective. So no doubt, man. Hey, much love to you on that one.
Also, all right, so Coach, let's get right to it. Let's get into the actual we came here to talk about. So you had time to decompress since losing to Howard in the MEAC tournament finals. How proud were you of your team?
Very proud. Just to be able to witness the growth, the improvement, and the maturation that they've displayed over the course of the year. I mean, we've come a long ways. We still have a ways to go, but I was really proud, where we got to the point where we competed during the regular season. We reached that point where we were playing 500. Every game was competitive. We were in every game. And then to have the performance that we had in the tournament, actually getting to the championship game and just being a couple of minutes away from winning it and going to the big dance. So, I'm really happy and proud for my guys and the team and the program and the university. It's just another building block along the way of trying to get to where we want to be.
So, Coach, also, a lot of universities now, we're in this NIL, we're in getting transfer students, this, that, and the other in this process. But it seems like your team has that more of that organic way of building and fostering talent, young guys getting in, learning the system, improving year by year. Can you just talk about your philosophy in terms of recruiting, your philosophy in terms of just grooming your players and recruiting your players?
Yeah, sure. And actually, the transfer portal and even the whole COVID experience of the last 4 years has changed the landscape as far as recruiting goes. I happen to be one of those coaches that got hired in the middle of a pandemic. And my goal when I came in, I thought, now might be a good time with everybody focusing on the transfer portal that maybe I could focus and look at maybe 4- and 5-star high school athletes who were being overlooked at that point, knowing that with anytime you have a rebuild, it's going to take 3, maybe 4 years to get to that point where you really want to be and you're starting to compete for a championship. So thinking we can bring guys in and they could grow together and that chemistry could come. And that's happened for us. And then sprinkle in a transfer or two here to be, to add what you're missing or what you feel like you might be missing through regular recruiting.
So, Coach, we already talked about how incredible the run was. But what stood out for me was that your team clearly, by the time you reached the championship game, you looked fatigued. I mean, you played 3 straight days, and they looked tired. I mean, at halftime in the media room, that was the discussion. Like they looked like they're tired. They played a lot of basketball, played some hard games, especially that Central game was a hard-fought game. I mean, and South Carolina State, you get to battle back. But of course, you still push Howard to the brink. So how can your team grow from that? Do you want to focus in on, conditioning next season, or do you want to just say, you know what, let's get a higher seed so we won't have to play 3 consecutive days in a row?
I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, you want to play to get the highest seed you can possibly get, and as the way that is built, hopefully lesser competition. But in the MEAC, there really is no such thing. 1 through 8 is competitive. But I will tell you that grueling schedule of playing 3 games in 3 days definitely weighed on us. Particularly, we left the gym at 11:30 the night before from the semifinal game, and we were right back in the gym at 11 a.m. the next morning. So you didn't have time to even lay down and really catch your breath, not let alone prepare for what was probably the biggest game of your year, a championship game. So I would love to see the conference maybe take a position and do something a little bit different with the scheduling. Either you add a day between or you make it an evening game, whatever. But to get the best performance from our student athletes, I think that needs to be considered.
Okay, and I don't want to get you in trouble. I'm not going to get none of us in trouble. But I'm going to say this. I was walking through the hall while your team was warming up, and I heard an assistant coach saying, do not stop because it's so cold in here. You're going to get cold again. And that arena was freezing. I just said, I wonder how that affects the players. You don't have to say your laugh said it all. So I'm just throwing that in there because I thought that was unique. That your team was the only ones I saw warming up outside of the actual arena area. And I'm like, yeah, man, I can't imagine playing basketball up in here, let alone, I saw the cheerleaders. But still, again, it just speaks to how amazing the run was. And y'all had a good crowd, too. I was like, hold up, Delaware State traveled this weekend. That's dope.
Delaware State travels well, and that's one of the things we wanted to do. I think it helps with myself as a coach, being a native Delawarean and having a lot of support from the community. The alumni base came out really strong. We had a couple of busloads of students that came down to support. So it was good, and we've generated a lot of enthusiasm and excitement about the program, and hopefully we can continue to build on that.
Awesome.
Where are you next?
Oh, really? I asked my question, brother, but go ahead. You know what?
I can go mine. Hey, so Coach, we already mentioned, Ray mentioned you have such a declarated high school career as a head coach, winning 8 state champions at Sanford School. How did Del State lure you away, from coaching high school? That's what I want to know, because that usually doesn't happen. Like high school coaches going to the college ranks, right?
Right.
You're successful at it right now. So how they lure you away?
Well, I mean, one, I feel really blessed to have the opportunity to be here, and as you said, that's an unusual jump to go from the high school to a Division I job. And I had a very successful career, 29 years at the Sanford School where I was, and then I was a head coach there. I was the dean of students there. I was an athletic director there. I taught algebra and geometry. I raised my family, my lone child there. It was a tough decision for me to leave, but I will say the opportunity to come here, I was ready for another challenge. It was time to do something. As you said, we had won 8 championships, produced a lot of kids and players who had gone on to play Division I and a few professionally. So the thought of taking on a new challenge and something new excited me and interested me, and that was one of the things. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the direction that Tony Allen, who's the university president, leading the university, and a lot of excitement about the growth and changes that had happened here at Delaware State over the years. I was interested in becoming a part of that too.
Awesome. So Ray, you're right. I did miss my question, so I'm going to go back to my other question. Ray's right, actually. So all right, so always. I do want to talk about this kid because I was very impressed with this kid. I'm not. The first 2 nights, I was impressed with his whole run, to be honest with you, because I can understand how it could be as a freshman. So freshman, Tavares had an amazing tournament. He averaged 24.5 prior points per game prior to the Howard game. He had a rough game against Howard in the finals, but just for his performance in the tournament as a whole, how excited are you for him going into next season?
I'm super excited for him, and super excited for our program because he's a
Mhm.
part of it. I mean, when I recruited him, I knew he had a lot of special qualities and the kind of kid that I felt like we could kind of build around. Ironically, you know, Daywalk started the year. Our starting point guard broke his hand
Mm.
and was out for the season, and that's how Daywalk got inserted into the lineup.
Wow.
Really expecting him to have a chance to grow for a year, but we threw him into the fire, and he responded. Man, he's a gamer. There's nobody tougher. His confidence was by the time we got to the tournament was through the roof. You know, he believes he can get to any spot on the floor. High risk, high rewards. He takes some chances, but he makes it happen. Guys love playing with him. He's unselfish. He loves to win. He's a competitor. As I said, I think the kind of guy that you can build around and take our program to the next level. I have a challenge now because he played so well. I got to re-recruit because everybody else feels like he played well too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I know there's some people chomping at the bit to
Of
have an
course.
opportunity. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
but
that is so true.
yeah, and tell him like,
Wow.
you know what amazed me when hearing him speak at the presser, he stated that defense really isn't his thing, but in the tournament,
He
it was
locked
his
in.
thing. So like, how did you get that out of him if it wasn't his thing?
He turned it up. I mean, I
Yeah.
think really what it was, and just as I said, he's a competitor. And
Mm-hmm.
it got to the point where the game was on the line, and what came out of him is what's in him. The kid's got a huge heart. He doesn't like to lose, and I think that's what you saw. We were playing zone in the first half of that game against South Carolina State, and we made
Mm-hmm.
the man-to-man, and it started the second half. He got right up in the kid's
Yeah.
face, plucked him, took the ball, and then kind of set the tone for us defensively, and everybody else raised their level of play. Our intensity went up, and fortunately for us, that was a good thing.
It'd be a mistake for me not to mention, you know, your senior guard, Martez Robinson. Just you talked about, you know, having to come back after that late game and play the championship game against Howard, but for him having to hyperextend his knee that like late in that game, then that having to switch over and play against Howard, like you just talk about his perseverance, his heart, his toughness, just to get ready to play against Howard, and he played well, just going through all that.
Man, I'll tell you, he's probably the kid you asked the initial question about how proud I am of the team. The
Mm,
kid I'm most proud of in this program, because Martez is one of the kids that's left who was here when I came.
mm,
And he's a Baltimore City kid, a tough kid, again, a competitor, and he's going to do whatever it takes to win. But the growth and the maturity that I've seen in him, not only as a player, but as a young man, it has just been exponential and tenfold. So he's our leader. And not really vocal, doesn't say a whole lot, but just gets right to it and does what needs to be done. So I'm super proud of him and happy for him, and showed us what he was made of. He wasn't 100%, wasn't even close to it, but gutted it out and left it all out there for us.
Coach, when the larger audience got to see your squad at the MEAC tournament, and then of course they see Tavares as a freshman, Mooney as a sophomore, like, oh, we got to deal with these dudes for years to come. You know, I heard the chatter, and also something I heard was that people think that you recruit well in the tri-state area because of the guys that you have on your team. Is that something that you say is your calling card? You recruit, you know, Jersey and Pennsylvania, Delaware, of course, New York, or you just want to get the best talent from wherever, such as like in the DMV, which is also close as well.
mm.
What would you say your recruiting strategy has been thus far, and moving forward, will that change at all?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm probably a little bit more known in this tri-state area, but
Okay.
in the DMV area, you know, I've had some experience. I did the coaching with the USA National Junior National team,
Right.
so we got some contacts and some connections there. But Delaware State, one of the reasons I was interested in the job, geographically, I feel like we're perfectly situated. I can get to DC and Baltimore and New York and Delaware and New Jersey, all within a couple hours, and be back home and be in my bed on the same night. So recruiting, I feel like we're in a hotbed. We're right in the area where we can find some talent. And I feel like if we can just be in the conversation and be in the mix in this region, we're going to be able to compete.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I always feel like when you have an institution, you're in your state, if you can own, like, less lack of a better term, you can own your state in terms of recruiting or do a very good job in that in recruiting, I feel like that's always gonna lead you to success. You know what I mean? Because when you let your talent out of your place, out of your home, leave the state, I feel like it's harder to kind of win basketball games in the recruiting process. So I think, Coach, you're doing a great job, especially since, again, you're entrenched in Delaware.
Well, thank you. I mean, Delaware is a small state, and we only have 2 Division I programs.
Mm-hmm.
The other one being my alma mater, which makes it tough. But I want to make that a goal, that we're trying to get the best player in the state every year. And I think you do that, then you can establish your program and maybe cement your program. And other people from the surrounding states, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, will also want to be a part of it. And then if we can branch out into Virginia and maybe reach down into North Carolina, that would certainly help.
Well, Coach,
I'm glad y'all play University of Delaware too, by the way. That's always a good game in state.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wole, my bad.
No, I'm like, yeah, Coach, you're on your way. Basically, I'm saying he's on his way. But so Coach, we always ask this question to most of our guests. So what does coaching at a HBCU mean to you?
It's different, man. There's a whole lot of pride and legacy and tradition and history that's really the focal point of the university, and it seeps into the athletic program. And there seems to be a little extra. I mean, like I said, being a graduate of University of Delaware, which is the PWI, it has its roots and its strength, but this is just a little bit it's different. There's something extra about it. And I just look forward to the opportunity to help and develop and cultivate and grow and lead and teach and coach. And it's been an enjoyable experience for me.
Awesome. Ray, did you want to ask me what you wanted to add? Because you
raised your hand up, bro. You skipping around again. It's all good.
Because you already asked that question.
We supposed to close with that question. But Coach, it's all right. Coach, it's no secret that the Delaware State budget is pretty good for the athletic department. We just want to know how that benefits you and your basketball program.
Well, and now the NIL and cost of attendance and things like that some of the high major and mid-major programs have that a lot of our HBCUs don't have. That makes a difference. It's all about the resources, whether you're talking about facilities, how do you travel, the budgets that you have to pay and attract and keep good assistant coaches. All of that's a factor in how well you recruit and whether or not you're able to maintain that level of success. So we do okay. We still have a ways to go. We got some improvement to do, some improvements to make. But I think if we continue to have success and drum up the interest that we've been able to get generated this year, we'll be in a good spot. But we can always use support, financial support and donations and to get our alumni giving up. I would love to challenge our alumni to do that.
Awesome. That's amazing, Coach. We appreciate your time. We've had a lot of coaches on the show, as Wole mentioned to you before we came on, and it's glad to add you to the list and start to cultivate this relationship because your program looks good and got some good young talent.
Some really good young talent.
Definitely appreciate it. Yes, man. Keep us in mind. Keep us in touch. Any opportunity that we can get to promote and market our program, I'm all for it.
Great. Well, we're gonna try to get you back on then, Coach. You already said it. All right. Let you know.
Anytime.
I have a blessing, okay?
All right, you do the same. Thank you, brothers.
Right,
appreciate you.
Ain't no doubt.